What up and welcome to Rama Screen YouTube channel, and here's my review of Netflix new docu-series American Manhunt, Osama Bin Laden. Let's rock this. Now, you guys remember that awesome movie Zero Dark 30, right? Which was a dramatization of the US raid on Osama Bin Laden's compound, which led to his death. Well, this docu-series gives you an even bigger, more thorough context surrounding that event, which of course began with the 9/11 tragedy. I've already watched all 3 episodes, and let me tell you, I'm giving this docu a perfect score. It's one of the best that's ever made. It's one of the best I've ever seen. American Manhunt, Osama Bin Laden is profoundly gripping. The amount of details covered in this docu is incredible. No stones left unturned. And it's not some mere propaganda, because they also brazenly point out the American blunders and mistakes along the way. Informative, riveting, intense, nuance. There's no conspiracy theory here, just straight up facts. This 3-part docu-series from directors Morlowsey and Daniel Sivan gives an in-depth look at how the world mobilized to hunt down Osama Bin Laden after his orchestrations of the September 11th, 2001 attacks on the United States, featuring interviews with key people within the US government who helped the global chase. This series focuses on the decade-long mission to capture one of the world's most notorious terrorists. You know, Netflix needs to do better at scheduling when to release their documentaries, because something like this would have been more fitting if it sees the light of day next year, which will mark the 25th anniversary of 9/11. So having this docu arrives this year instead just doesn't make much sense. But I digress anyway. Those of us who are old enough can still remember 9/11 vividly like it was yesterday. But this docu-series chronicles the whole thing through the eyes of the CIA officers and certain public officials who were working the case. And it's incredible the number of talking heads they collected for this docu. I mean, falls short of the 2 presidents and maybe a couple of other people, including Condoleezza Rice. Everybody who was somebody in that situation war room is featured on this docu. Maybe their NDA or statute of limitation expired, or maybe since they don't work at Langley anymore now, they're thinking, well, our bosses are no longer in power, so why should I hold back, right? So, in front of the camera, they are very candid and brutally honest with their assessment, which is kind of refreshing if you think about it. I'm glad that this docu doesn't hide the fact that asshole Donald Rumsfeld was responsible for Osama Bin Laden escaping Tora Bora, because the world needs to be reminded that the Bush administration purposely, that's right, purposely extended or prolonged the so-called war on terror, which, if you ask me, was a politically motivated decision. This whole manhunt could have ended early, and we could have saved the lives of thousands of our military men and women, and we could have saved trillions of our taxpayers' money. But because George W. douchebag Bush needed an excuse to eventually invade Iraq, which had nothing to do with 9/11, by the way, they purposely let Osama Bin Laden slip through their fingers. And remember, the buck stops with him. It's the president's job to keep the American people safe, which he massively failed to do so on 9/11, despite all of the intels that they had received prior to that day, indicating that there would be an imminent attack. The way that this docu chronologically explains the manhunt moves and feels like a pulse-pounding thriller that culminates with the raid itself. It's got drone footage, it's got night vision footage, it's got inside scoops on their strategies. And the point that you get out of all of that is, wow, this must be what it feels like when the adults or the grown-ups are in charge. Listen, the Barack Obama administration was not perfect. I will never forgive him for bailing out the big banks that crashed our economy, instead of bailing out the homeowners whose houses those banks foreclosed on. Obama siding with Wall Street instead of Main Street will remain an eternal stain on his legacy. But this right here, the hunt and the killing of Osama Bin Laden, this is something that you can never take away from President Obama. Whether you are left-wing or right-wing, you gotta give credit where credit is due. And his administration deserves the flowers for this accomplishment, no doubt. And it also goes to show you that torture or enhanced interrogation does not work. No matter how many times Jack Bauer of the series 24 tried to convince you. But you know what truly works? Actual detective work. Gathering intel, acting on that intel, following the leads, going at it tactically and surgically. That kind of stuff is what's on display in the final episode. So yeah, overall I give American Manhunt, Osama Bin Laden the rating of 5 out of 5. It's a suspenseful, thought-provoking examination of one of the most significant chapters in American history, which you'll never view quite in the same way ever again after watching this docu.